Going on, guys? Rewinds here, and this is going to be my review for Boruto Manga Chapter 64. Overall, I'd like to say that this was a good to a pretty good chapter. I'll let you know what I liked and did not like in this chapter in the review, and then at the end of the review, I'll rate the chapter out of 10 and let you know overall how I felt about it. So let's talk about what actually happened in the chapter. So we start off with Kawaki recalling what happened with Borushiki during the whole Ishiki incident. And so now Kawaki's scared that maybe I would say concerned / scared that Momoshiki's taken over again. But then he comes to realize that Boruto is actually in control this time. And this may be, due to the medicine that Amado's giving him. That's what seems to make the most sense here. So then we go on to Boruto versus Code. And we have Boruto use his shadow clones, and I thought it was interesting that when he used his shadow clones that the clones came out looking pretty normal. So this is a flaw of his new powers technically because they didn't carry over to his clones. And I wonder if that has some type of special meaning that'll be shown later on in the series. Let me know what you think of that too in the comments below because that is something that caught my eye and it had me thinking. But yeah, it gave him a disadvantage in this battle as well because he could be spotted out. Another big thing was talk about the meds. So Code later down the chapter brought it up, and then Boruto and Kawaki were like, how does he know about the meds that Boruto was using? So now maybe they can use that little clue that they got from Code to figure out that somebody's spying on them after this battle, possibly. Then we cut back over to Konoha, and we have the whole search shifting towards Boruto instead of Kawaki. Naruto is in a meditative state, seeming like he's about to use Sage Mode, and he tells Ino to tell all the sensor unit people to start looking for Boruto now instead of looking for Kawaki. And then meanwhile, Shikamaru shows up to Naruto's house. Shikamaru says he knows that Naruto is going to go lunging in there, but since he doesn't have Kurama there anymore, he's going to need some backup. And meanwhile, Sasuke is on his own separate hunt for Code, who knows where, so now Naruto is going to need some different backup. And I think this is pretty good because Shikamaru is still one of the toughest, and I would say one of the best, like probably a top 10 at least, shinobi around in the whole village. So I think him coming along with Naruto could actually prove pretty beneficial, and it's a pretty good gesture by him to do for his friend and also as his advisor. So I think that's pretty cool. I was also thinking another opportunity they could have done here if they wanted some new gen people to shine. This could have been a pretty cool opportunity also, I think, to maybe have tossed Konohamaru in here and given him some type of cool little power up to aid Naruto because Konohamaru is Boruto Sensei, so I feel like there could have been a nice connection there. And on top of that, Konohamaru just needs some justice done, so I thought that could have been a cool little time to throw him in, maybe get some little tag team action in with Naruto. But they decided to go with Shikamaru, which is also still a pretty good idea, so I'm not complaining. It's just a little different route that I might have taken it. And then we have a actual controversial scene based off of Twitter. So people were calling Kishimoto, the author of Naruto and Boruto, sexist because because in the chapter Naruto told Hinata to stay home. But Naruto gave very valid reasoning because he said that if Hinata comes with him to battle too, if both him and Hinata were to die by some chance, who's going to look after Himawari? So he made a pretty good point with that, even though she is obviously concerned for Boruto and Kawaki. So that was that. And then Himawari asks if Boruto and Kawaki are going to be okay and if Naruto's going to be able to bring him back. And then there's a cool shot of Naruto turning into Sage Mode and saying, something along the lines of, do you know who your father is, or did you forget who your father is? And I thought that was a pretty badass line. Moving on further. Boruto is fighting with Code still, and we find out that he tries absorbing Code's claw marks, but he can't, and that's due to how they're made and how they're not purely out of chakra, I believe. But there is a substance that's used that is unique and can't be absorbed, if I recall right. And then Code talks about how he's impressed with how Boruto already is as Momoshiki's vessel, and that how he plans on taking him when he becomes completely ripe and ready to be the quote-unquote perfect sacrifice for the divine tree. And I think that's some good stuff, because that kind of hints at the time skip. That might be the reasoning why, that Code kind of chills out with going towards Boruto for a little bit, and that's how we could get a few years of the time skip in general. I feel like you gotta have some type of reasoning that, the villain might not attack that whole time frame, So I think this is a good way to fill that in. Hopefully they give us more context, of course, and I'm sure they will. Then Code pretty much tries to escape. He tries to take Kawaki with him. Boruto, by the way, has actually been putting up a pretty good fight. Ada tells Code to not underestimate Boruto so he doesn't die like a premature death before his limiters are removed. So Boruto is quite a threat here to Code now. And I think that's pretty cool stuff too. I mean, I think Code still edges him out by a bit based off what we've seen in this chapter. But good stuff nonetheless. So Code pretty much grabs a hold of Kawaki by going through one of his claw marks. And then Kawaki actually ends up using a shadow clone to escape. And he makes Code pissed by doing that, of course. And then in the meantime, we have Naruto actually finding Boruto in his Sage mode. So he's immediately ready to head out. He has 2 more clones waiting to get ready with Sage mode, so he will be able to use it for a longer period of time. Shikamaru asks Naruto about the limitations of Sage mode, and Naruto tells him that he's able to maintain it for much longer now. And part of the reasoning for that is because of his wisdom of age, quote unquote. So by that, it could probably mean that he's just learned how to use it in a smarter way that makes it last longer. Or, he could just be saying that just to say that, but he might have, he might just be able to maintain the form longer in his adult body. That's what I'm thinking. A cool little shot of Boruto versus Code when they're fighting again. Boruto actually lands, well, it seems like he lands a nice little hit on Code with the Vanishing Rasengan, but Code actually escapes with his claw marks yet again. So the main problem with Code in terms of these battles is that he's very evasive. So being able to hit Code has been very difficult so far for Boruto and Kawaki. And I feel like that's going to be a problem that continues on later down unless someone is just simply way, way faster than him or has similar techniques than him. Moving on, we also have Boruto. Oh, this will actually be what ends the chapter. Boruto grabs his chest mid-battle towards the end, and he just drops to the ground, and that's kind of where the chapter ends, leading us to think 2 different things. One, Boruto could be dying. That's the obvious. Or 2, this could be the beginning of Momoshiki's resurgence and takeover. Based off the preview I covered for this chapter, it seems like their battle is going to continue on into chapter 65. But I think, if I remember right, that both their powers are going to be unleashed pretty high up now. So this is probably going to be the climax of this whole battle. We'll see how it turns out. But that's what's going to happen. And I think the chapter is going to end with probably Naruto and Shikamaru showing up now, if not Sasuke. But yeah, that's what happened in this chapter. So my favorite part of the chapter was probably seeing Sage Mode back. I love that form. And I'm glad Naruto can use it longer now. I think people need to put more respect on Naruto's name. Ever since he lost Kurama, of course, naturally, they're going to be a little more worried about him. But this guy's still the Hokage. Sage Mode is no joke. He still was the hero of the Hidden Leaf with Sage Mode. People are forgetting, but hopefully Naruto can do some big things still. Get some shine. I'm not saying he has to necessarily win like every fight, and I'm sure he won't, but getting some shine would be pretty cool for that form now, and to show that he still has a lot up his sleeve and he's not useless without Kurama, you know. But yeah, overall, I think I'm going to give this chapter a 7.5 to a 8 out of 10, which for me is a pretty good to a borderline great chapter. But yeah, that's what I overall thought about it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below too. Be sure to leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. Hope you guys have a good day or night. I'm Rewinds, and I'm out.